It's an exciting time to be in the wireless industry as a significant transformation is underway. The catalyst for this massive transformation is 5G, and one that is just beginning. A more recent emerging trend is 5G for enterprise and the idea of linking connectivity to business use cases, redefining how to engage with a buyer in the enterprise and via cloud distribution models. An essential element of the architecture in this 5G trend is the edge compute, or when combined with connectivity options, also known as the multi-access edge compute, or MEC. Well, joining me today to discuss a new Dell Technologies MEC solution are Naga Akshinthala, Solutions Manager Telecom Systems Business at Dell Technologies, Milan Djukic, who is Director of Intel's Smart Edge Product, Business Development and Operations at Intel, and Hanen Garcia, Global Telco Solutions Manager at Red Hat. Hello everybody, good to see you all. Naga, could we start with you, and could you tell us more about the solution and what Dell is contributing?
Yeah, hey, thank you for having us today here, Guy. It's absolutely a great time for us to come together. I'm joined by my fellow panelists who represent the three large brands that is coming together in order to create this reference architecture. We're talking about Intel Smart Edge, Red Hat, and Dell Technologies coming together in order to create this very first reference, what we call as Dell Multi-Access Edge Compute, as part of the Services Edge portfolio. In short, it's Dell MEC. And the opportunity here for us is just beginning. This is one of the many to come and follow in terms of making announcements of adding more opinionated architectures as we go further in this relation. But make no mistake, it's the underlying philosophy here is open architectures, open systems. There is nothing proprietary about the offer. It's about creating the Lego blocks, taking the best of the breed, the components that make up the multi-access edge compute, where Intel Smart Edge is the baseline platform that we're taking into consideration in order to drive the multi-access edge compute. And then there is a cloud native infrastructure that's tied to it, which Red Hat brings to the table. For us to take this solution, and the end beneficiary here is the telecom business, more specifically the line of business at the telcos, in order to drive adoption in the enterprise. It's about B2B, it's about monetization. And this is just the beginning of launching the multi-access edge compute to participate in use cases so that we can help telecom businesses to monetize the opportunities in the B2B space. And I'd like to turn this over to Milan at Intel and see if he can share a few words about the multi-access edge platform that we're leveraging here.
Yeah, thank you, Naga. First off, we're super excited to be partnering with Dell Technologies on this MEC solution. Intel's contributing a commercial edge native multi-access edge computing stack. And within that, we're integrating a mobile core element. And the way we like to think about Intel Smart Edge is it's where Intel innovations come together, including on the CPU side, the accelerators, software developer kits such as OpenVINO, and of course 5G.
Thanks, Milan and Naga. And Hanen, what is Red Hat contributing?
Well, as you know, at Red Hat, we have been working on cloud native infrastructure for a long time, and Red Hat OpenShift container platform is the result of that. And of course, with that platform, we have been focusing on the scale, the resilience, the security, and the performance for this kind of cloud, and without compromising the agility for the edge cloud. In fact, you know that at Red Hat, we have this vision of the hybrid cloud, where simply the edge is an extension of the telco network cloud, and the vision for expand to the public cloud. So what we have achieved with Dell and the Smart Edge team from Intel is to crystallize that vision into a tangible solution for the edge. And this is what we are presenting today.
Thank you, Hanen. I've got a question for all of you now, and that is, what customer challenges are you solving with this reference solution? Naga, let me start by asking you first, and then we'll hear from Hanen and Milan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. Thanks for asking, Guy. If you really look at the number one pain point for the operators, the telecom businesses, is their key measure for the financial reports is ARPU, average revenue per user. And when you understand more about 5G, there is a direct linkage of 5G to the enterprise, and 5G enterprise is already going mainstream. The idea is, how do you drive monetization, right? That's the number one issue that most operators are dealing with today, and they're asking for participation in the enterprise, driving connectivity into the use cases that the enterprise is building and taking advantage of. And ultimately, the question is, how do we solve the problem of driving new monetization for the operators to benefit from the digital transformation in the enterprise that's already taking place? And then the second issue is, how do we reduce the time to market, right? Because the opportunity is only as good as for you to participate and take advantage of today, rather than waiting for the next 18 months to create a service launch and go to market. So it's about time to market and monetization. Those are the two things that we're trying to address with this reference architecture.
Excellent, thank you. And Hanen, what customer challenges do you see being solved here?
I think, and Naga pinpoint already what the main difficulty is, right? And together with that is not just only trying to catch up to that opportunity of what 5G will bring and the edge computing will bring, is how the operator will be able to actually deploy the fastest possible to catch to those opportunities. Now, what we are doing here is exactly that, is bringing a reference architecture that will allow operators and service providers to actually go and deploy the fastest they can to win into those opportunities the sooner.
Thank you. And Milan, anything you can add about the challenges that have been addressed by this solution?
Yeah, absolutely. I think looking at it from an enterprise point of view, they're really focused on security and ease of use. So having a zero trust security architecture and making private networks as easy to consume as Wi-Fi is critical for the success of the telcos in this space.
So those are the challenges that the solution is addressing. Naga, can I ask about edge computing and MEC? Is edge computing and MEC the same? Can you explain what might link these two concepts together?
Hey, that's a great question. I get that almost on a daily basis. I'd like to start by saying that the more you understand about 5G and the intentions of 5G in terms of where it is headed, there is a direct linkage between 5G and the enterprise, because it's about edge compute use cases as part of the digital transformation within the enterprise that's already happening today. They're not waiting for 5G, but essentially think of use cases for industry, manufacturing, healthcare, mining. These are real use cases that are under our noses. I mean, they're basically being developed. The enterprise is already participating in it. But what they really need is the linkage to the connectivity options, whether that's CBRS today that is wide and prevalent in the US, or if it's 4G or 5G tomorrow. The idea is to present all of the different connectivity options to the enterprise, link the multi-access edge compute. Multi-access is a key word because you're presenting many options of connectivity to the enterprise. And they as in the enterprise users would leverage the MEC along with the edge compute use cases and create the linkage. So it's extremely important that a lot of people get caught up on the word MEC, but think of, MEC and edge compute are complementary. They are together, but the multi-access edge compute is more about connectivity options being presented to the enterprise.
Great, that's very clear. Thank you. And Milan, what are your views? What's the relationship between edge computing and MEC?
Well, ultimately, the ability to deliver services to the enterprise is critical. So having a platform that can support multi-tenancy and where the operators can land multiple workloads, depending on the specific vertical or customer pain points, is key. And with this solution we partnered with Dell and Red Hat on, we're able to provide a common platform for these operators to take in multiple verticals and impart the right policy, the right security, and the right applications to deliver end user value.
Thank you. And Hanen, how are these two concepts linked, and what would you say are the benefits?
Well, I would say the cloud infrastructure is the one who is linking both the concepts together, right? At the end, those edge workloads will be leveraging that infrastructure and what we call the cloud-native edge workload, and those will benefit directly from the main characteristics of the infrastructure that we're bringing and we're putting in here. So being able to scale. So we are going to be in dimensions that are far from what we used to have in data centers, and being able to handle those multiple locations and being able to actually follow the data that's being generated on those locations at the edge. Now those are benefits of deploying on a cloud computing platform, or edge computing platform such Red Hat OpenShift, around which today we have as well on Red Hat, we have built an extensive partner ecosystem that's extending the capability of the platform, but as well complementing those edge applications and services. Now, the work we have done here with Dell and the Smart Edge team and Intel is the proof that ecosystem works all together.
Yeah, I'd like to add a little bit there. So it's extremely important, as you can sense the theme here is about open architectures, open ecosystem, but presenting an integrated experience so that we can reduce the time to market for the telecom operators, and thereby creating new service opportunities, use cases, and drive monetization. That's the key aspect here when it comes to multi-access edge compute. We're hearing a lot of definitions in the industry, like, is it public MEC or is it private MEC? At the end of the day, it's about let's go take the connectivity and attach it to the use case, because it's use case that drives connectivity requirements, not the other way around.
One quick consideration there is with Dell, Red Hat, and Intel in this joint solution, we bring very strong ecosystems together, and it's incredible strategic value for the operators. They can tap into these ecosystems, solution for the enterprise, and monetize, as Naga just mentioned a moment ago.
Well, Milan, let's build on that, shall we? And can you explain a bit more about the opportunities and use cases for communication service providers with the Intel Smart Edge forming the foundation for the Dell MEC solution?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the opportunities are immense. There's a huge interest and investment flowing into the market. I don't think that's news for anybody. We have a specific production deployment with the Dell team at a large and Fortune 50 manufacturer. And what we did there is we initially addressed a connectivity and a mobile worker issue. And we brought private LTE across a 40+ acre industrial campus. So we addressed their connectivity problems. We enabled multi-tenancy with various contractors from different organizations that are on their site. So that addressed the first problem. And then now that we have that common infrastructure in place, this client's looking to add value-added services on top: tool tracking, real-time location services, AI to drive efficiency in their manufacturing options, and so on and so forth. So this common platform, the beachhead was private 4G, and now we're starting to layer on value-added services, which, connecting it back to the points Naga was making earlier, is it just gives the operators a chance to not only just monetize once, but deliver incremental services over time.
Thanks, Milan. And Naga, what use cases do you see?
When it comes to use cases, I have to admit, this is the strong point of Dell Technologies and Red Hat and Intel. We have a ton of edge compute use cases that we're actually selling today in specific verticals. I can pick one in a manufacturing industry vertical. We're participating in the plant floors in order to increase the efficiencies of the plants, to make it more mobile so that we can increase their operational efficiencies and workforce productivity. And so the question is, it's not about the use case. Does it exist? Yes, it exists. But how do we take the concepts of connectivity as a wireless opportunity on multi-access edge compute closer to the use case so that we can make it more holistic as an opportunity that's delivered and managed by the operators in the future? Think of it this way. It's not just enough to say that the telcos or the telecom operators would like to participate in the enterprise on behalf of 5G and be reduced to be a connectivity player, right? The question is, they need to get to a point of an SLA-driven conversation for a service use case. But in order to get there, we got to get multi-tenancy, right? We need to understand the enterprise use cases and the user behavior and their requirements. And then ultimately, we got to go create the end-to-end linkage between the telecom operator and the enterprise in order to climb the stack and create more value. So the use cases do exist today. It's just creating the linkage between the telecom operator and the use case is what we're trying to achieve.
Great, thank you. And Hanen, what opportunities do you see for CSPs as they try and make this linkage?
I think that Milan and Naga just mentioned it before, and the connectivity center, the opportunities are there in many verticals industries. I can mention healthcare, I can mention financial services, especially healthcare, right? Today, what we are living, we have lived last year and still living today. We see what we could have done is we had such infrastructure today, or even last year, and on processing the information the sooner the possible and being able to address the magnitude of what we are living today. And the same on the financial services, right? Well, people rely to be on the branch, but branches are not accessible during this day. So how we manage all of that? So the edge computing and the MEC solution are addressing these kind of things as well. Now, I would have to agree with Naga and Milan that for when I'm looking at through the scope of a service provider, the industry 4.0 is looked at the more promising in terms of opportunities or new opportunities for them.
Great, well, thank you. There's a lot of opportunities there, obviously, for the telecoms industry. Naga, it's early days, but what's next for the Dell MEC?
That's a great question. You know what? In all regards, I mean, we're just getting started. This is the foundational platform. This is the infrastructure of choice of us getting into the market space. It's not a one-time thing. There is actually a roadmap for the next 4 quarters in order to go drive more integrated, more opinionated architectures. So you'll get to hear more as we advance. But the theme is multi-access edge compute with a private wireless or private mobility, as we call it, attached to it, so that we can go to the line of business within the telecom operator base and start to participate in use cases at the edge compute and kind of connect and make that linkage between the enterprise and the telco by us coming together is what we're trying to accomplish. So there's a lot more ahead of us, and I'm excited.
Excellent. And Hanen, any additional comments on this strategic alignment around MEC?
Absolutely. And as Naga mentioned, we are at the beginning of this journey, but we will continue working with Dell and the Smart Edge team to make sure that the solution will follow edge cloud patterns and provide the capabilities and the performance that customers and service providers expect from it.
Great. And Milan, final thoughts from you?
I think the team summed it up well. We have an exciting roadmap, fully funded, and look for more exciting innovations to come later this year.
We certainly will. Milan, Hanen, and Naga, thank you all very much indeed for participating in our discussion and sharing your views and insights with us today. And for more information, please contact your Dell representative, or you can download the Dell MEC solution brief using the URL below. For now, though, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.